Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to IT Voices Technology Simplified podcast. Tech talk everyone can understand. And this week, excited to welcome our guest, Scott Curtis, who is one of our VCIOs over here at IT Voice. Welcome, Scott.
Thanks for having me. I'm glad to be here, Will.
Well, hey, Scott, we're going to be talking about ransomware today. I know that's on the top of so many people's minds out there, just with everything that we've seen. So, before we dive in deep, not everybody, maybe they have an idea of what ransomware is, but not everybody maybe knows exactly where it is. Before we start talking about it, tell us just in simple terms, that everybody can understand, what is ransomware?
Well, what ransomware is, it's a piece of malware or a virus, and malware and viruses are pretty close to the same thing, that gets on a computer, a server, anything with an operating system that is in your office, and it encrypts your files so you can't see them and you can't use them. It puts a encryption that's almost like a government style encryption, and until you get the key to unencrypt it, you can't get to your information. And
S-
and
So, what does that mean
ransomware,
for a business if that
well, what
happens?
well, what that means is if you don't get the key and you haven't protected yourself against ransomware, then your data is completely unusable. You can't get to it. You can't retrieve it. You can't do anything with it.
Yeah, so that's pretty serious for a business. Potentially put a showstopper, put them out of business if they can't get to their data. So, what are you seeing right now? In the market out there. I mean, what are the current trends that are happening with ransomware today?
Yeah, ransomware, first of all, when it first started, there was some honor among thieves, which means if you paid the ransom, they would give you the key and you would just get your data back. So, some things have changed about that right now. So, one of the things that the folks that distribute ransomware are doing is not only are they encrypting your data, but they're taking an unencrypted version and storing it on their servers and selling it to the highest bidder. So, say you manufacture a widget, and that widget has proprietary information as far as how it's made. Well, if the folks that took your data sell that to another company, then they could potentially make the same widget and sell it at a lower price based on how they can get their materials. So there's a couple different things going on in that direction, and then also there are it used to be ransomware. You had to do something in with your computer in order to get it. So you would have to click on a bad email, go to a website that has the malware on it that downloads onto your computer. Now there's something happening called supply chain attacks, and what that means is your software that you use, and it could be your business software. It could be any piece of software that you use, like if you're using CAD, like AutoCAD or something like that. And I'm not saying AutoCAD is one that has been attacked, but in the updates, what happens is these hackers get into the updates for the software itself, and you download the update, and guess what? The update has the malware package in it, so it could actually attack thousands upon no, thousands of people because of these supply chain attacks. So it used to be that you have to be careful in order to not get ransomware. Now, no matter how careful you are, it still could be coming.
Yeah, yeah. You think you're going to a safe source and getting something that's legit, and then you turn out that you get ransomed. So, one of the questions I think that comes to a lot of people's mind is like, you know, what are the signs to know that I've been compromised? You know, what should I be looking for? I mean, maybe somebody's listening to this right now and they're worried that maybe they're compromised. I mean, what are some of the signs that they would be able to see to know that they're compromised?
Well, first of all, the easiest one is if your computer pops up and says that your files have been encrypted, you need to pay a ransom. That's a pretty easy one. However, one of the mistakes that are made when that pops up is customers or businesses tend to actually keep the rest of their computers running. And the best thing you can do in that case is to shut everything down so that it doesn't spread. And so that's one of the biggest signs. Other signs is, little blips that you see on your computer. You see all of a sudden you're on your browser and it flashes on you. Uh, Things like that happen. Weird emails coming through that indicate that maybe somebody is phishing for that type of information, and just things like that are indications. And the thing is we have a lot of prevention in place right now. So you could have prevention at the firewall level, you could have prevention with your antivirus and anti-malware. One of the things that's important is malware tends to sit on your system for months before it starts actually encrypting your files. So having some detection systems in place really helps you to get that ransomware off of your system before it starts doing its job, which is to encrypt your files.
Right, right. Well, you mentioned that, hey, obviously one of the number one signs is that you get the pop-up that says you've been ransomed, you've been encrypted, click here to pay. So should somebody, I mean, if it's already happened to them and they're that far down, everything's locked, I mean, should they just go ahead and pay, get the encryption back and, keep operating, or how should they handle a situation if they see a message like that?
Well, first, I would recommend talking to a professional first, an IT professional, because the paying the ransom sometimes in the terms of nowadays, sometimes paying the ransom, they ask you to pay it again. So paying that ransom doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get your data back. And also, you may have systems in place that protect you against ransomware. So if you have a good data protection system in place that allows for snapshot of data, then the ransomware may not be that big a deal. We can just make a restore from your backups to get you back up and running, and then clean the ransomware. So I would recommend talking to a professional first. The other thing is most people don't have Bitcoin accounts that they can just pay the ransom. So talking to somebody that knows first and have them take a look at the system, we can tell you if it's a good idea to pay that ransom or not.
Right, right. Yeah, for sure. So obviously, I think most businesses want to avoid ever getting in that position to begin with. So, what does someone do to protect their company so they never get in a position like that?
Yeah, I alluded to that before. So we've always, in previous years, the prevention part has been such a big part of trying to stay out of ransomware and viruses in general. So almost everybody uses some sort of antivirus, and then at the edge we have firewalls that have the ability to filter malware and viruses before they come in. So that's all well and good. However, the 0-day viruses and the ones that get through phishing emails and things like that, you can never be 100% protected in that case. So putting detection on your network, what that does is it examines your log files, and anytime anything that is unusual, that is sent to what's called a security operations center, or a SOC, and they take a look at that. And when they see stuff that looks like malware and it looks like ransomware, then they can actually come in and clean that before it does its encryption. And as I said before, that malware sits on your system usually for months before it actually detonates and starts taking the files and encrypting them.
Right, right. Yeah, that's pretty good information to know. So I mean, it sounds like that the real keys here are that you've got good tools in place and you've got good professionals helping you through that, because um, there's pretty complicated landscape out there to try to navigate on your own. So, well, Scott, appreciate your time today on Technology Simplified by IT Voice, and giving us some tech talk that we can all understand. So Appreciate you coming in and sharing with us about ransomware today.
Thank you, Will. It's been great.
All right. See you guys.